I'm Dana Vuga from Vuga Elder Law and Estate Planning. We're here today to talk about how not to go broke in a nursing home. Before we start, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about us, what we do, and why we do it. The picture you see of the gentleman on your far right is someone I've never met. My father-in-law died a couple years ago, 9 days short of his 100th birthday. Dad was in the Navy in World War II and had had a lot of close calls, and we really enjoyed listening to his stories. This is a picture of his only sibling, his brother Roger. Roger was in the Army and was killed just after the Battle of the Bulge. Veterans have always held a very special place in our hearts, and we want to make sure that the veterans and their surviving spouses get a little-known veterans benefit that helps pay for high unreimbursed medical expenses. The picture on your left is a picture of our second daughter, Catherine. Catherine was born with a rare genetic condition called Williams syndrome. When she was born, we knew that she was going to be mentally retarded and that we would have some challenges getting her through school. But Rick and I, we weren't worried. We figured we know the law, we can do this, we'll get her through. Even though knowing the law and knowing what our rights were, there were still many challenges that we had to overcome. It was a real challenge just to get her through school and all of the little details that you have to go through. We did get her through school. She's a happy, well-adjusted young adult, and we know the challenges and the joys that go with having a loved one with special needs. The picture in the middle is a picture of my grandmother and I back in the mid-90s. We called her Nan. Nan developed Alzheimer's. My mom was her only child, and when Nan could no longer live by herself, my parents built a bedroom and a bathroom on the back of the house, and Nan was going to stay with them for the rest of her life. Nan was never going to go into a nursing home. We had a plan. And it all went well for a while. And then one day, my parents woke up and Nan was standing over them with a butcher knife. I really don't think Nan meant to hurt them. But the disease had eaten her brain so much that it was no longer safe for Nan to live there with them. It wasn't safe for Nan and it wasn't safe for my parents. And we had to put her in a nursing home. And Nan went broke in a nursing home. So we help families that have a loved one with special needs. We help families that have to have someone with nursing home care so they don't go broke in a nursing home. And we help veterans and their surviving spouses. So let's talk about not going broke in a nursing home. Have you ever heard anyone say, "I'm never going to a nursing home"? Well, most people feel like they don't want to. I haven't found anyone who says they do want to go to a nursing home. But what's the likelihood of you having to go to a nursing home? 70% of individuals over the age of 65 are going to need some type of long-term care. That could be in-home care, assisted living, or nursing home care. 40% of those people are going to end up in a nursing home, and 20% are actually going to spend more than 5 years in a nursing home. So it begs the question, how are you going to pay for that long-term care? There are only 6 ways to pay for long-term nursing home care: Medicare, long-term care insurance, veterans benefits, long-term care benefits, private pay, and the final way is Medicaid. So let's take them one at a time. Let's start with Medicare. Many people mistakenly believe that Medicare is going to pay for their nursing home care, and the truth is it won't. Medicare may pay up to 100 days of skilled nursing care, but if you have to spend the rest of your life in a nursing home, 100 days, 3 months, is a drop in the bucket. You have to be in need of skilled care. That means it has to be supervised, or the care must be provided by a nurse, a doctor, occupational therapist, or physical therapist. For Medicare to pay anything, you've had to spend 3 midnights in a hospital. If you've been in the hospital for 3 days and then you go to rehab, the first 20 days will be picked up 100% by Medicare. Day 21 through day 100 have $157 a day copay. So even if Medicare is paying day 21 through day 100, that's still going to be an out-of-pocket cost of over $14,000. The second way, long-term care insurance. Not a lot of people have long-term care insurance, and even if you do, it's the old type of use it or lose it. Some people will take advantage of their long-term care insurance because they'll be in a nursing home for a long time. My grandmother could have used that. She was in the nursing home for 8 years. My grandfather had a heart attack and died the next day, never saw the inside of a nursing home. If he had had long-term care insurance, he would have wasted all those premiums. I'm happy to say that long-term care insurance has improved greatly, and there are many options now that are no longer a use it or lose it type of policy. There's no cost or obligation to find out what kind of options might be appropriate for you. Veterans pension benefits is the third way to pay for long-term care. This gets to be very complicated. You had to serve during a period of war. It had to be active duty. Reserve does not count. You had to be on active duty for 90 days. If you were serving after September of 1980, it has to be 120 days of active duty. You had to have a discharge of something other than dishonorable. You have to have unreimbursed medical expenses that aren't covered by insurance or Medicare, that come close to or exceed your income. You also need to have help with 2 activities of daily living. The VA recognizes transferring, getting in and out of a bed or chair, feeding, not cooking, but actually getting the food to your mouth, dressing, bathing, and toileting, understanding the wants of nature, getting to the bathroom, taking care of business, and coming out. You also have to have limited assets in your name or the name of a revocable living trust. Any asset in a revocable living trust is still a countable asset for VA benefits. That's pretty much all I can talk about in terms of veterans benefits in this video because it is very specific to the individual person. We would encourage you to come in if you are a wartime veteran to talk about how this benefit might help you pay for unreimbursed medical expenses during a free initial conference. Now, I've talked to people that said that they have talked to the Veterans Administration and the VA has told them, well, you have too much money. That's an easy fix because if you have countable assets that are too much for the VA to consider giving you the VA benefit, we can move those assets into a Veterans Administration trust and they will immediately not be seen by the VA. So we can move the assets in there and the next month you can apply for benefits. These benefits are tax-free money. For a single veteran, it can be $1,788 a month tax-free. For a married veteran, it can be up to $2,120 a month. For a surviving spouse, $1,149. This money can make a huge difference in someone being able to afford to move into assisted living, especially if they're paying for those 2 activities of daily living to get help with them. Because if you're doing that, then your rent becomes an unreimbursed medical expense. The next way to pay for long-term care is to private pay. Pull out that checkbook and write the check every month. The average cost of a nursing home care today in St. Louis County is $8,000 a month. There are some nursing homes that are as high as $14,000 a month. Who can afford to pay at $8,000 a month, $96,000 a year, or pay it for very long without going broke? The next way to pay for long-term care is what we call long-term care benefit plan. And what that is, we can convert a life insurance policy into a monthly income to help pay for care. If you have a life insurance policy that has a death benefit between $50,000 and $1 million, we can convert that and get some of those premiums that you have paid out to help pay for your long-term care. This isn't for everyone. But if you're going to let your life insurance lapse because you can no longer afford to pay the premium because you need in-home care or to move to assisted living, let us know. Maybe we can squeeze some of those premiums out to help pay for that care. It will still have a small death benefit, and it can be a whole life policy, a term policy, group, or universal life. Again, I'd be happy to talk to you about what kind of options that you might have with that. The last way to pay for nursing home care is Medicaid. Medicaid has become the long-term care provider for the average middle-class citizen. To be able to be in a Medicaid bed, you have to be in a Medicaid licensed facility. It's in a semi-private room in a Medicaid designated bed. Medicaid will pay for skilled nursing care more than it will pay for in-home care. There's a very small chance of getting in-home care for a very limited period of time. So basically, it only will pay for skilled nursing care. When you are on Medicaid, not only are you in a semi-private room, but all of your income goes to the nursing home every month except for $50 a month. That $50 a month is supposed to pay for your toiletries, your slippers, your clothing, your haircuts, your nail care. Medicaid does not pay for dental, it does not pay for hearing aids or hearing aid batteries, and it'll only buy a pair of eyeglasses every 2 years. Do you think dentures and hearing aids and glasses ever get lost, stolen, thrown away, or stepped on in a nursing home? All the time. It's very difficult for most people to live on $50 a month. The best way that I have found to explain how Medicaid works is to give you an example of a typical case that comes into our office. So a very typical example that would come into our office is who we're going to call Wanda wife and Harry husband. Harry's had a stroke and needs nursing home care because Wanda can't take care of him anymore. Harry and Wanda have a house that's worth about $200,000. It's paid off. They have about $120,000 in checking, savings, money market, things like that. Harry has an IRA that has $100,000. Wanda's IRA has $75,000. She didn't work as long. She stayed at home to raise the kids. So their total IRA is $175,000. Harry's income is Social Security and a small pension. That's about $2,000 a month. Wanda only has Social Security of $800 a month. Again, she didn't work as long. That total $2,800 a month is what they need to live on. If they have a large expense, they have to dig into their savings. Harry took out a life insurance policy a number of years ago. It has a death benefit of $100,000. It has a cash value of $60,000. Wanda and Harry also have prepaid funerals. So Wanda and her daughter have gone to the nursing home to talk about how this works and how to pay for Harry's care. After they've told the nursing home everything that they have, this is what the nursing home will tell them. Well, Wanda, you have prepaid funerals, so you're going to have to cash out your life insurance, which means Wanda automatically loses $40,000, the difference between the amount of the death benefit and the amount of the cash value. That $60,000 goes over with their checking and savings. And so now instead of just $120,000 with checking and savings, they have $180,000 plus the $175,000 in IRAs. The nursing home will tell Wanda, well, Wanda, you're going to still live in the house, so we're going to set the house aside. But you have $355,000. Start spending it because you don't have a spare $8,000 a month to pay for Harry's care. You have to spend down those assets, the $355,000, until you get down to $247,200. At $8,000 a month, it's going to take about 13 months to spend $108,000. When you get down to $247,200, this is the division of asset number that the state will allow you to now divide the assets in half, and you each get $123,600. For Wanda, for you to get any help from the state, you can't have more than $123,600. Harry is going to continue spending his $123,000 down to $1,999. That's going to be another 15 months, give or take, a sinus infection. Now Harry can apply for Medicaid. What happens is all of his income is going to go to the nursing home except for $50 a month. Wanda is left with $800 in income. She can't live on $800 a month. By law, I can have some of Harry's income transferred to her, but the maximum amount of income she could have, including her Social Security, is $2,030 a month. That's an $800 a month shortfall from what she needs to live on. Wanda is hoping against all hope that Harry is going to get better and come home, and so she's not going to sell the house for a while. She's going to continue to spend the $123,000 she needs for the rest of her life, hoping that Harry's going to get better and come home. So the $123,000 that Wanda has is going to be spent down a little bit every month to make up for the shortfall that she needs. When you go on Medicaid, the state keeps track of every dollar that they spend on you. When you pass, they add it up and get a large number and attach a lien to the house. Now Wanda realizes that she really doesn't have a choice but to sell the house so that she doesn't continue to drain the assets she needs. Whatever amount of money that the state has paid on Harry's behalf is going to be deducted from the sale of the house before Wanda gets any money out of it. But it gets worse. When you are at the point where you can apply for Medicaid, you must tell the state in the last 5 years if you have gifted or protected money. For every multiple of $4,898, they impose a 1-month penalty. What that means is, even though you are asset qualified, if you've given away money, the state is going to impose a period of time that they're not going to pay your bill. If you've given away $10,000, that will be a 2.16 month penalty. If the average cost is $8,000 a month, multiplied by 2.16, it's going to cost the family more than $16,000 to pay through the penalty period. And you've only given away $10,000. It's a very harsh penalty. So how do we stop from going broke in a nursing home? It's called long-term care planning. The process of planning for your future, for your independence, for your dignity, to make sure that you have choices, and to protect your nest egg. What is long-term care? We should start by defining what that is so that we know what we're talking about. You're in need of long-term care when you need help with 2 activities of daily living. There are 6 activities of daily living: transferring, getting in and out of a better chair, dressing, bathing, feeding, not cooking, but actually getting the food into your mouth, toileting, getting to the bathroom, taking care of business, and incontinence. Where do we receive long-term care? Well, most of us want to receive long-term care at home whenever possible. That can be through professionals or family and friends. You should be aware, though, that if you're paying a family member or a friend to provide in-home care, that it's going to be considered a gift if you need Medicaid later and you don't have a personal care contract in place setting out exactly what care is being provided, that it's supervised by a doctor, and that you're withholding taxes and you become an employer. Adult daycare is the second place that you might receive care. There are a number of wonderful adult daycare communities and centers in our area. Independent living community, that's referred to in a variety of different ways: a senior center, over 55 community. In an independent living community, you're usually living in an apartment. They'll come in and clean your apartment once a week. They might provide 1, 2, or 3 meals a day. You may or may not be driving, and there'll be a number of activities that are scheduled either inside or outside of the community. The next place is assisted living. When you're living in assisted living, you no longer have a stovetop, and to be able to remain there, you must be able to get to a point of safety on your own in a 5-minute period. So if you need help with transferring, getting in and out of a better chair, unless you're paying a premium above the rent, you're probably not going to qualify for assisted living. Skilled nursing care, what we refer to as a nursing home, has the highest level of care that can be provided. Why should you be concerned about long-term care planning? 3 reasons. Life expectancies continue to increase. Second reason, baby boomers are becoming seniors at the rate of 10,000 a day, and that trend is going to continue for the next 15 years. But the number one reason, who can afford to pay $8,000 a month or $96,000 a year for very long? Why should you plan? Most people want to make sure that their healthcare decisions are carried out by whom they want to make the decisions and in the manner in which they want their healthcare provided. They also want to make sure that their financial affairs are handled by whom they want. Most people want to make sure that their money is used for their quality of care, their quality of life, and not a gift to a nursing home. People oftentimes want to decide who's going to get their assets, under what conditions, and what they can use it for. But for the bottom line is, for most people, they want to make things easy for their family. They don't want to leave a mess or decisions that haven't been made. This is what we refer to as the elder care journey. You'll notice that it starts over on the left-hand side and with the healthy, vigorous senior. Then we go to the declining senior and ultimately to the fragile senior. Not everyone goes through each of these stages, but it's a very typical progression that people pass through. The healthy, vigorous senior can be 50 or 90. Likewise, the fragile senior can be 50 or 90. That's why there's no ages on here. Below the line are the various ways in which you pay for the care. Sometimes it's private pay, sometimes it's long-term care insurance, and ultimately for the fragile senior in a nursing home, it's typically Medicaid. So how does someone enter the elder care journey? More often than not, it's because there's a healthcare crisis. Something happens and you have a medical emergency. No one ever wakes up and says, I think I'll have a stroke today. It's unexpected, and so you have to plan ahead. If you've done planning, then you have a durable power of attorney for healthcare decisions that appoints someone to act on your behalf and make medical decisions for you. If you haven't done planning, then your family has to go to probate court to set up a guardianship. Likewise, for finances, if you've done planning, you have a durable power of attorney for finances, appointing someone to handle your financial affairs. If you haven't done planning, your family also has to set up a conservatorship through the probate court. The problem with conservatorship and guardianship is that it's very time-consuming. It's very expensive. It's a public record. It's emotionally trying. The court is in complete control, and they may not appoint the person that you would have chosen to act on your behalf. A lot of times people will say to me, I don't have to worry about that. I have POD, payable on death, or TOD, transfer on death, on all of my accounts. That's great if you die. We're talking about what happens if I don't die, but I get sick and I need care. POD and TOD only goes into effect upon your death. The other thing I hear a lot is, I don't have to worry about that. I have my child or all my kids on my accounts and my house. That's even worse. That puts your money at risk, and we call it the 4 Ds. Divorce, debt, disability, and death. The first is divorce. If you have your daughter on your account and she and her spouse get divorced, the spouse is going to end up with part of your house or your accounts. Likewise, if your daughter is in debt and gets sued, they're going to come after your money because her name is on your account. What if you and your daughter are in a car accident together? You're killed instantly, and the daughter requires long-term care for the rest of her life. Now, all of that money is going to go to her benefit alone and not to any of the siblings that she may have. What if you were killed instantly, your daughter lives for a short period of time and then dies? The money transfers from you to the daughter, and then upon her death, it goes to her spouse. Is the spouse going to share it with your daughter's siblings? Maybe, maybe not, probably not. The other document that you need is a HIPAA release. HIPAA refers to your private medical life, and a HIPAA release states who can be in the know about that private medical life. Who can call a hospital to check on you, who can hear a doctor's report or test results. Many times we'll find a HIPAA release as part of a durable power of attorney for healthcare. You want those to be two separate documents. You can give someone the ability to make financial decisions for you immediately. I can give you the ability to write checks, sell my house, but you can't give anyone the ability to make healthcare decisions for you until a doctor declares that you are no longer capable of making those decisions yourself. Your durable power of attorney does not go into effect. It is useless until you are declared incompetent. If you're in a car accident and are knocked unconscious, you don't want to be declared incompetent just so that your family or your spouse can talk to the doctor. You want those as two separate documents. Because how can someone make good medical decisions for you if they can't talk to the doctor? It's a very, very important document. The three most important documents that anyone over the age of 18 needs is a durable power of attorney for finance, a durable power of attorney for healthcare, and a HIPAA release. Yes, the age of 18. When your child or your grandchild goes off to college, once they turn 18, they are a legal adult in the state of Missouri, and you can no longer make any decisions for them. That includes something as easy and as simple as a car accident. So, do you have those documents? Durable power of attorney for healthcare, finance, and HIPAA release? Great. How old are they, and were they prepared by an elder law attorney? The difference between a general practitioner and a estate planning attorney and an elder law attorney is that we focus on that area of life where before you die and you get sick and you need care. General practitioners, estate planning attorneys generally prepare documents for death. Our documents prepare for that also, but we are much more concerned about that period of time before you die when you get sick and you need care. That's why our documents are more powerful and yet more flexible than those that we see prepared by general practitioners or estate planning attorneys. We know the type of powers that a power of attorney must have so that you can do as much as you can to protect assets. Most people believe, I have mom's power of attorney. I can do whatever I want. The truth of the matter is, you can only do what the document says you can do. When you take your last breath, your power of attorney dies with you. Now what happens? Again, if you've done planning, you have a will or a trust. If you haven't done planning, then the laws of the state of Missouri determine who gets your assets, and it may not be who you had planned on leaving them to. A question that I'm asked often is, do I need a will? And the answer is yes. A will names who gets your assets and who is in charge, your personal representative. A will only controls those assets that are in your name alone. A will must go through probate. Probate is the legal process by which assets that are in your name are transferred to somebody else. By law, probate must last at least 6 months. In St. Louis County, it's usually 18 to 24 months or even longer. Probate is very expensive and it's very public. A question that I get often also is, do I need a trust? Well, that depends, possibly. It depends because there are different types of trusts and it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you have a loved one with special needs, you absolutely need a special needs trust. You don't want that person with special needs to inherit directly from you because it may kick them off of government benefits that are dependent on assets. The most common type of trust is a revocable living trust. It avoids probate. It handles cognitive disability better than durable powers of attorney. It is still countable for the VA and Medicaid, and it does not protect assets against the cost of long-term care. Only an asset protection trust, a type of irrevocable trust, can protect assets against the cost of long-term care. It also stops creditors and predators, it avoids probate, and it handles your assets better if you become disabled. I think of estate planning like building a house. A good foundation are durable powers of attorney that are flexible and powerful, and a will. The walls on your house are the revocable living trust, but it doesn't stop the cost of long-term care from reaching in and stealing all of your assets. Not until you put a roof on your house, the asset protection trust, in addition to your revocable living trust, do you stop the cost of long-term care from stealing your assets and you protect those assets. By now, most people are thinking, how much does this cost? The truth is, I don't know. You do have to weigh the cost of planning versus the benefits that you receive out of the planning process. That's why we offer everyone a free initial conference to come in to talk about your exact situation, your unique needs and assets, what you want to accomplish, your health is a factor in it, all kinds of decisions and impact what type of estate planning is best for you. Have I answered all your questions today? Probably not, because there's a lot to be covered and a lot more that we can talk about. If you have some specific questions, email me at dvuga@vugaelderlaw.com. If you'd like to call for an initial conference, free, no obligation, call us, 636-394-0009. If you're looking for some more general information or information about us, visit our website at vugaelderlaw.com. That's everything that I have to share with you today. I hope you found the information beneficial and a good basic understanding of how not to go broke in a nursing home. I greatly appreciate your feedback on the information covered and if there's anything else that you'd like to see in a future webinar.